Feige released more details that are pissing some people off and making some people go, yeah, you know what, that
Shut
makes
up.
sense. I know, shocked, right? It turns out Deadpool will be the only R-rated property in the MCU. That's what they're planning.
I
So,
say at
Uh,
least for now.
what
At least for now.
yeah,
There's no current plan
what's
for it.
what's the problem?
I've
Well, you got Blade.
yeah.
That's
Uh,
everyone's all talking about. It's like, have we
I
forgotten
mean, I
that the
mean,
that Blade? If Blade came out today, I doubt it'd be R-rated.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't like with Blade. It doesn't really have to be R-rated. Like you don't really need him cursing like
No, you
every other
don't.
word
Like,
because he doesn't really curse all that much.
No.
here's the
And all
thing.
the kills are people getting dusted from
Yeah.
the sword. So
And
Yeah,
what exactly is the issue here? I don't
I also
understand it.
do want to say this as somebody that read the Blade comics. I'm not just a guy that
mm,
watched the movies. There is very, very little Blade swearing, and like the movies do a decent enough job for interpretation, but that is not
yeah,
Blade. I can tell you that
yeah.
straight up. It is not
It's
how it is.
and you don't really need blood to get creative with kills.
No, no.
Yeah, no,
That's
no.
the whole thing. It's like, cause that's the thing when I see people like, what if also blood? I'm like, well, you don't really need blood to get creative with kills if you're gonna make Blade not just like a vampire hunter, but
And
a monster hunter.
also
And even
let's
then, it's all monsters. It's not people.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep. That's that's sort of what I'm trying to get at. It's like, dude, vampires in Blade are a factor, but they're not the biggest factor because he fights other monsters and beings. And let's say, for example, in the first movie, which undoubtedly they're going to deal with vampires because you got to bring that concept into the MCU
Well,
with
like they're
Blade.
calling it Blade the Vampire Hunter.
Right. So it's like you can't shy away from that. They're not going to. But when he goes to example for to a vampire blood bank, which is a guaranteed thing that's going to happen, if you just have black body bags and tubes running out of them, we know what that scene is. It doesn't have to be dripping blood. Like,
No.
vampires in their culture are very clean, and they don't like to get all bloodied up unless it's part of a more ritualistic type thing. Again, I love history. Like, vampires are one of the things I'm really into and love studying. So, there's a different way to do it where you don't have to show grotesque over the top blood. And if you want a good example of this, What We Do in the Shadows by Taika
Yeah.
over on Hulu. It's a great vampire series, and they touch upon all that. You barely ever see any blood, but it's great, and they do werewolves and things like that in it. So, like, I am not like at all concerned with this hampering the vision or story or anything. I think it's actually going to strengthen the story because they can't just toss blood all over anything and be like, we're adult. Yeah, it's like,
And even now, like PG-13 movies have blood in them.
yup,
Like
yeah,
the line between PG-13 and R is becoming really like thinner and thinner
yeah.
at the
I think
minute.
I think it's just the amount of curse words you can use.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, I think it's probably which ones as well.
hmm And that, I mean, again, big factors go into this. Now, let's say since you're looking at like Deadpool being the only R-rated one, right? So no Blade. What do you do then? Like, because a lot of people want to be like, well, Deadpool, let's have a Spider-Man crossover, right? It's like, well, Sony probably isn't going to allow that to happen, right? They're not going to be like, ooh, allow Spider-Man to swear like crazy up in a Deadpool movie. So you run into another sort of contractual problematic scenario, and I don't think Kevin Feige would even want that either. Just being like, oh, this is so. It kind of gets childish almost. I want to say, like,
Yeah,
yeah, if you
yeah.
get what I'm saying, like it's like, oh, you're just swearing for the sake of swearing, I guess. So
Mm. It's that kid mentality of like, oh, I shouldn't be saying this thing, but it's cool to say it.
yeah, which, admittedly, everybody goes through that phase. It's just a thing, it
I'm
is.
still in that phase right now. Like when YouTube censored everyone, it's still I struggle. I still struggle now.
That is a thing, yeah. That is a thing,
A
'cause
third of my vocabulary has been decimated by YouTube, so thank you.
and that's because like we're so accustomed to it because it's so prevalent in pop culture, right? It's
Yeah.
like, and that works with Deadpool though because Kevin Feige even said that's something the character is known for. We're not gonna mess with that. Like, reconfirming, yeah, R-rated again, it's like there's so many things that go into this decision, and I'm glad that he's talking about Deadpool as a thing that he clearly understands they don't need to change too much, and they shouldn't change it too much because, I mean, the backlash would be huge because, again, swearing and all that, and it just goes hand in hand with the immaturity of the character, which is something that's very, well established for that character. So how do you think they're going to play around with it? What do you think they do with Blade? How do they take that in a different direction, I guess? Like, what would you even do?
I think with Blade, we've kind of already nailed what it's going to be. It's like it's monsters. You don't have to worry.
Mm-hmm.
If monsters and non-human things counted towards the rating, then like every Avengers movie would be R-rated because the amount of things they kill.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, Captain America alone, for all of God, it's like he's a soldier.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, dude's killing left, right, and center.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know, because R-rated movies, like you can, a lot of them fall into the why was that R-rated?
Yeah. Yep.
It's like this thing didn't need to be R. Like, there's just because people swear. It's like, is that really? Does that warrant an R rating? I'm not entirely sure, but
yeah, I mean, if we look at some of the ratings for like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier internationally, some people are already giving it an R. It's like, oh,
the Netherlands is like 18 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah, that is. So it's like, well, I guess you target whatever you have as a goal, and we'll see how it ends up. So I think we're all in agreement. It'll be fine. Deadpool can remain the only R-rated thing.
Because you look at the other company right now. You look at DC. The BVS Ultimate Cut was R. What was R-rated about that?
It was?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I honestly can't.
I want to say because the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh.
That whole subplot. I think it was R because of that. And it's just like, well. It didn't add anything to anything, so it's just like people just want the R rating just for the sake of it, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm an adult. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like everyone will get to that point in life where it's like, no, you just stop caring.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
Deadpool doesn't act like an adult.
No, not at all. So, well, I guess in due time we'll find out how this goes. Whatever they decide to do, whatever other franchises, if they ever go into it, I'm pretty sure there'll be a reason to do it. They're not just going to do it for the sake of doing it. So, yeah, it's
like it's the same with WandaVision. Let them tell the story they want to tell.
Yep.
If it's R-rated, cool, it's R-rated. It's not suddenly going to be good because it's got R on the box.
I see that sentiment so much on the internet. I'm like, oh my God, come on.
It's like, oh, this is going to be good if it's got all blood and guts. No, if you want that, watch a snuff movie. That's the only reason why a movie is good.